Welcome back, everyone, to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we want to introduce all of our entrepreneur friends, everyone within our network, to some fellow entrepreneurs and people that can help you go all in on your business. Today, we're here with a couple of new friends of mine. I'll let you guys introduce yourself briefly, but they're in the HVAC industry and going to walk us through learn a little bit about how to kind of navigate the heat, take advantage of kind of the situation that you're in. So it's going to be a pretty cool conversation. I appreciate you guys for coming out, making your way over here. So why don't you guys introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Stacey Ketchum, and I am a partner in the Business Comfort Zone Heating and Cooling. We're located in Canton, Georgia, and I've been in the industry about 14 years.
Cool.
I'm Travis, and I'm Stacy's partner, and same company, obviously. And I've been doing it about 20 years now. Heat and air specifically. And
how did you guys get specifically into the HVAC space?
Well, my story is a little different than probably most people. The company started, my brother and my dad actually owned it. And just over the years, my dad decided to retire. And in 2018, Travis and I bought the company from him.
Cool. And you've been so you said you've been in there 14 years. You worked for your dad before.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And that's where you learned everything?
That's where I learned everything.
Where'd they learn everything?
Actually, my dad he worked for a Fortune 500 company and retired pretty young. And
most of those people tend to do that.
Yeah, he did. And my brother had the opportunity to go to school for HVAC and knew that he wanted to start his own company. So when he got done with the schooling, my dad and him, who had just recently retired, started the company together.
That's pretty cool. That's actually really cool. And what year was that?
They started the company, oh my goodness. Now I have to do the math. So 2011. It was 2007. They started in 2007.
So, okay, it was 14 years ago. So you were there kind of with the inception of the company.
Pretty much.
It started out with them?
It did, just the two of them.
What was it when you guys acquired it? What was the size at that point?
It was about $1 million in revenue, maybe a little bit over that.
Mm-hmm.
How many employees?
I don't know, 15,
yeah,
something like that.
15. What are you guys? What is the size now? When did you guys acquire
it? We acquired it in 2018.
Oh, cool.
2018. However, prior to 2018, my dad was still owner a few years prior to 2018, but he wasn't real active in it. So he just kind of let Travis and I manage the company, and he just kind of took a back seat to it. With the intention, we knew that he was going to sell. It was just, timing thing. But so yeah, now we hope to end the year about 3.5 million, and we have 28,
almost 30.
Yeah, almost 30 employees.
Wow, scaling up.
Yep.
So you're basically at least double what 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Has that been kind of like what are you guys growing kind of with the standard of your industry? Are you guys growing fast? Are you guys going slow? What does it look like compared to some of the other HVAC companies?
So HVAC is weird. I guess contractors as a whole, you either grow or you stay small. That's the middle space. You're not really making money as an owner, right? It's just stress.
Right.
So when you hit about $1 million, that's like a chuck in a truck, right? A guy just doing it by himself on the side. That's about the topping out. Maybe he's got a helper, maybe one other truck. So at $1 million, you've got to make a decision. Do I want to grow this, or do I want to stay small, maybe even go back smaller? So the big hurdle after that is $2 million. $2 million is tough. And you hit $2 million, that was a hard one for us. And then 3 to 4, I think, is the next logical step. Mm-hmm. And then I've always heard 7 would be the next one. Our goal is to get to 10. That's really where we're driving to.
Sure. How are you guys going to get there? What does it look like all HVAC? Are you guys going to kind of divide up and create new divisions where you offer different services? What's their goal to continue to grow?
Good question.
So, yeah, we have entertained the idea of bringing on more trades like electrical or plumbing. We haven't so far. We have talked to other companies who are interested in selling out, smaller companies. But at this time, and not this year, we won't bring on anything, but it is definitely something we'd be interested in doing in the future.
When we started this, Stacy and I specifically, and like she said earlier, we were kind of running it. when it was a lot smaller prior to 18. And we said we want to specialize just in HVAC and get our processes down, really kind of perfect what we're doing. And then as we've grown, we've realized, I think we run a pretty tight ship.
We do. I think one of the things we've learned over the years, and this is because when my brother started, it was kind of like, we'll come out to your home. We'll pretty much do anything you want us to do. You want us to
build a fence,
right. Replace a hot water heater, build a barn. What do you want us to do? And we learned over that time that we really just need to focus on what we specialize in. Only work on what you know. And I guess that would be a message to your listeners. If they don't know electrical, don't offer electrical. If you don't know plumbing, don't install hot water heaters, because those things will just only bite you in the butt later.
All right.
So what was your introduction into the industry?
I got started, actually, I was real young, 18, had a kid. So my first kid, I was 18, I was panicked, like, man, I got to do something. And I had a cousin who was in HVAC, and his boss actually happened to be the president of Northeast Florida Builders Association. So they offered an apprenticeship program there. So I got started doing that with a buddy, and I stayed with that company for, God, it was like 10 years. And then I actually went to Afghanistan with the Department of Defense and did contracting work in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
Which is a wild place. And then when I went back, I kind of outgrew the old company I was at, and I was looking for a change. So I moved up to Georgia and got connected with Stacy and Brian and all them.
Cool. Well, that's pretty cool. What was how did you get that connection to the people that took you to Afghanistan?
It was actually a guy that I worked with for a long time. He said, "Travis, listen, I'm going to Afghanistan. Do you want to come?" I was like, "Man."
I said, "No, I don't."
Actually, I said, "Well, how much?" And he told me, and he's like, "It's tax free." I said, "Man, I don't know. I got it." My son at the time was, God, he was maybe 8, 9, 10. Something.
It's
like
weird
that.
how your fear of death goes out the window when you hear tax free.
Right. That's the truth. That's the truth. It's not so bad, right? Because I'm, for a soldier, they're going outside the wire, right? They're going to fight. For contractors, we're just on a base.
Right.
Right. So I was on an interesting base. It was called Fob Fenty. So it's had an airfield around, and then you have all these smaller bases around it that you would take helicopters and fly to and fix air conditioners on. So, but it really,
That's pretty cool.
It wasn't that bad as far as, I wasn't seeing combat day to day.
Sure. Well, that's pretty cool. So what, as you guys continue to develop your business, has there been any like big changes, big challenges that were different from when like your dad had it before you were kind of in that owner role, you were in that manager role?
For sure.
Oh yeah, we've made a lot of changes. Probably our biggest thing that we've done since we've taken it that I believe has helped move this forward is training of our employees. We spend a lot of time when we hire them. It's a 2-week onboarding process. So it's a lot of training, constantly training. All of our employees are brought in weekly with their team. They're doing training during those times. We meet monthly as a company, and it's interesting because when COVID happened, we weren't able to meet like we were. So things kind of seemed to revenue wasn't there last year, at least during that time. Which for us, spring's a pretty busy time. Sure. So we were like, oh, it's because of COVID. And then towards as we got into like September, we were like, you know what, we need to really get back on track with our meetings and our training. And when we did, we actually ended the year really well. And I think a lot of that had to do with just the relationship that our employees have with each other. And they really missed seeing each other on a regular basis. It was like a family reunion at the first big company meeting following COVID. And I think that's just real important. Sure.
I think one of the biggest changes we made was the orientation, that 2-week onboarding process. When you hire technicians, and this is all contractors really, people jump around, right? The guy's leaving for $1, so he's been to 15 other companies before he's come to us. And he has a different philosophy on what the trade is than what we have. So that 2 weeks is really trying to flip his culture to our culture. What we found is when you have all these different, you got a tech from Castile and you got a tech from Reliable, and you got a tech from Coolray, they come in and they're like, well, we did it this way over here, we did it this way over there, and it doesn't match. You have this amalgamation of just different philosophies on what's right and what's wrong, and we had to get everybody on board to what ours was. That's really helped with the retention of our employees.
Have you guys had any difficulty finding workers?
Oh yeah, that's
all. Is it just a constant thing, or is it just a COVID thing that's made it's more difficult?
Been a constant thing. I think that's just the trades in general.
Nature of your industry.
It is.
I mean, it's any business, right?
And any kind of skilled trade. It seems like people just aren't going to trade schools anymore.
Well, it's the E-Myth, right? The book, the E-Myth,
mm-hmm.
right? You start a business, you have complete control over it, and then you've got to start trusting people, and they're not going to do it the same way you do, and that's a big challenge, I think, for any business.
Sure.
Right.
You're always going to have trouble finding people.
Sure.
But you've got to invest in them, and you've got to trust them, and I think we do a good job of that now.
So tell me, in kind of the true fashion of the podcast, tell me here what you guys have done as, so we get through last year, revenue's not there during that early spring, summertime because of COVID. People don't want people in their house, whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, then we get team meetings back and we get some more synergy within the office and things start to go really well. We end the year strong. As things heat up this year, literally, not figuratively,
mm-hmm.
literally heat up outside, what have you guys done to take advantage of the heat? What momentum have you guys rolled into this year with, and how have you guys kind of assured that you keep that?
Well, last year was more than COVID. So we naturally, like you just said, as stuff starts heating up, that's when we have our peaks. So we naturally have our shoulder months, which are, January, February is a horrible month always. I mean, hands down, February is the worst. But January through April, we struggle, and then the back end is September through December. And I shouldn't say struggle, it's just not as busy as the summertime is. Last year, you compound that with COVID, and then the 2020 elections, nobody wanted to spend any kind of money whatsoever until after
mm-hmm.
the elections.
Sure.
The first part of this year was insane. It was like everybody's like, all right, let's do this. Let's change out units. I mean, we were way over what our budget was for the year, just because I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know why everybody changed how they were spending money.
Was it a big change in just? Do you guys do commercial?
We're probably 90% residential.
Just because of how you market.
We market zero commercial whatsoever.
Right.
The commercial we do is just stuff that's fallen in our laps.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So people were kind of more comfortable letting money go. Let's change units. Let's upgrade our stuff in the residential world.
Right.
So what does that look like? How do you make sure that you're the person on their shelf? Is everybody not feeling in your industry that resurgence of people loosening up their pocketbook? Is everybody doing well right now in your industry?
From what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, we only know what our vendors tell us. We buy our equipment from, and they say this year everyone's doing really well. Maybe it's all those stimulus checks.
Sure. Sure. Well, your industry definitely was affected. I mean, like you said, we've talked about some of the ways they were affected. So they were definitely some of the business that were stimulated. Were definitely in your industry. I'm curious. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say on that. I mean, last year with all of that going on, we didn't go backwards, right? We pretty much finished even 19. We finished 20 what we did in 19.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of growth there, but and what we didn't do and what we normally would have did in our spring months, we by far made it up in our off season and the fall, which is kind of a flop for us. So we ended the year just, the same thing we did in 19. So there wasn't any real growth there for 20.
So with the back half of this year in mind, how do we continue the momentum that you guys have established through the first 6 months of this year?
So, I mean, we focus a lot on customer satisfaction. That's for us, that's our core value in our company.
It's our only core value.
It's our only core value. But with that, there's a lot that comes with it. And it's not just about your customers, it's about your employees as well. Because if your employees aren't happy, they're just going to go someplace else. And then when you lose an employee, it costs money.
Sure.
It just does. And when you hire an employee, it costs money. So, employee retention is really big. So you don't want to burn your guys out. You don't want to, you don't want to run until 8, 9 o'clock at night. So you got to be mindful of that and keep a good balance with, you're wanting to bring in new customers. But one of the big things we do is offer a very competitive maintenance plan for our customers, because we know the more maintenance customers we have, the more loyal customers we have, the more business we have in
That's
our off-season.
creating recurring income.
That's right.
Right. So people are signing up for like a monthly or every few months subscription to that you guys will come fix their stuff.
Right.
And what if you guys didn't install their stuff? Will you do that as well?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. And where are you guys doing most of your business? Canton still?
Well, Canton is by far our largest service area, but we service everything north of Interstate 20.
Oh, wow.
So, and then we
large.
stop about Jasper is about as far up as we go. So, don't really go much further north than Jasper, but yeah, we have a pretty large service area.
Sure. Yeah, you definitely do. Yeah, I mean, you have a huge portion of the state.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. So how do you guys, plan to continue that, your number one focus is engaging your employees, right? Is keeping your employees, making sure that while everyone in your industry is doing well, that you're not losing employees to other people for $1. What is that? What skill is in that? How does that work? How are you guys making sure that you're kind of top of your mind to keep your employees? Not within your industry. I don't want you to give away, what
Specifically employee retention.
Yeah, just specifically, how are you guys going to keep your people when everyone in your industry is doing well?
It's a lot of what she said. I mean, so when you, as a service tech, right, you want to make good money. That's important to you. But you also want the free time, right? Your family's important to you. And maybe this is just the text that we look for whatever reason. But that's what we found is the most important to technicians. And I can say that for myself as a technician. So we really, well, let me back up a little bit. Other companies in the industry, in this market, they'll hire a lot of guys in the summertime and just to get through that heat wave. Like, I need to make all this money and put money away, so when winter comes, I'm good and I'll just let all those guys go. We don't do that.
Right.
We want to have a core group of guys and make sure that we carry them through the winter months until we get back to summer with the expectation, hey, we're going to work hard in the summertime and it's going to be pretty easy in the winter. I shouldn't say easy, but it's still, we have a set number of calls that we, expect out of our techs.
Sure.
So that's really, to me, the biggest thing for employee retention is one, making sure their work schedule it fits their lifestyle, and two, the benefits that we have.
How many salespeople do you guys have?
We're at 3.
3 salespeople?
Four.
4, yeah.
Yeah.
How many techs?
We're at 8 now.
8 techs.
2 of them are maintenance techs, so we hire 2 guys, very little HVAC knowledge, had a little bit of mechanical aptitude, and are slowly training them so that they can become service techs. That's something new that we just started. I really like the younger guys, especially me coming from an apprenticeship program. I really like to bring guys up that have no experience at all.
Yeah, they're a blank slate too.
Right.
You get to teach them your culture from the beginning.
And they're very loyal.
Sure.
To the company.
Yeah.
The 2 we have both been with us for quite a while now, and they're just very loyal and they're very eager to learn too.
Good.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I think you guys are headed for a really cool place, within your business as you guys continue to grow. And, a big portion of what we do here is value, like we have all the technology that we have, all the time that we really spend understanding the infrastructure of this building and our company is important to us. That's why we stay here and we continue to do what we do, is because, we get taken care of as well. So we share that, as a value between our company. So I think that you guys are headed to a really cool place. I'm interested to see what that looks like. If we have people within our audience that want to have another conversation with you guys, how do they find you?
So obviously they can call our number. It's 770-213-2665, or on our website there's chat features. That'll bring us right into our office, and it's comfortzone.cool is the website.
Sure. Cool. Well, the last thing I want to ask you about really and close with this, and I think it's going to be pretty cool, is, the title of the podcast is Burn the Ship. And what we think that is to us. To us, burning the ship is, there's no going back. Is that we've landed somewhere and we've committed to something and we're going to figure out how to do it without turning around. Tell me what going through that experience of purchasing a business was.
Where did you get that?
That's from a Spanish conquistador named Hernan Cortez.
So he burned the ship so they couldn't go back?
Yeah, so he sailed to South America to basically take over the empires of the Aztecs and the Mayans. And as soon as he got there, they burned all their ships first day.
I thought it was a Warcraft reference.
Nah, that's it. No, that's it. That's where it comes from. So it's fully committing to your business. That's why we try to bottle up a skill and an understanding and a perspective that you guys get on business. So hopefully we can kind of pass that on to someone else that's needing some of that stuff. So that act of buying that company is your burning of the ship. What does that feel like? What is that experience like? And how would you kind of relate that to someone that's kind of weighing those options within their own business of, hey, should I buy this? Should I not? Should I commit to it? Should I not? What was that experience like for you guys?
That's a good question. I actually had a customer talk to me the other day, and he was from Eastern Europe somewhere, and he said, you had to have a lot of courage to start a business. There's so many pitfalls, and there's so many things that could go wrong. And that's why a lot of people don't do it, because they don't have courage. They don't believe in themselves enough to even try it. I don't know if that specifically answers your question.
I mean, I think, for me, at the end of the day, it's like I've got, my family to support. I enjoy doing this. It pays my bills. I like the freedom. It is, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, you entrust in these people to do right in these customers' homes. And sometimes things just don't work out the way you hope they do. Accidents happen and people get injured and stuff like that happens. It's terrible. But, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love it.
Sure.
I love it.
That's the biggest thing for, smaller guys that are looking to get bigger is the trust. You have to trust your employees. And we've had friends in the industry, different trades, that they wouldn't grow because they didn't. Like, man, this guy's not going to do it the way I would do it. And you're going to get let down. That's just part of it.
Sure.
People are not going to do it the way you do it. They're going to do something that, well, I guess common sense isn't that common, right? That's really how it boils down to.
And I guess one thing that's really kept me going is, we have a lot of mentors in the industry that's helped us over the years. People that are friends of ours that we still talk to today who have been in the industry a lot longer than the two of us have. And, they've shared their success stories and they've shared their failures. And there's one that comes to mind, and I probably heard this story from our mentor, I don't know, 5 years or so into the industry. And basically his employees burnt down a customer's home. Oh, and this guy he's very, very successful. And he said, you know what? We put those people up in an apartment and we paid for it. And, we made it right by the customer. And I continued my business and we moved on. We got past it. And to me, I've just always thought, if that can happen to him, I can do that too. We can, just overcome any obstacle that's in our way and we can continue to move forward.
Yeah. With all that employee training, hopefully you don't burn anybody's house down. Gosh, well,
we've learned a lot.
Well, that's pretty cool, man. I'm interested. I'm interested in learning more about your industry and your contractor space in general. We've had a kind of a flurry of different contractors, people that are good at different stuff on the podcast over time, and you always learn something different or get a different perspective from someone that's been in the industry of being in front of so many different people. Fixing problems for that's something that's different for you guys as well. Is that in our business in the pavement space, I have to come to you and kind of raise the attention that, hey, there's probably some money to be saved in this sector of your business. Well, you guys are already having this communication with, say I'm the homeowner. I'm already sweating, literally. I'm already pretty ill, and that's something so different is that, there's so much training and there's so much customer service. There's so much experience that goes into entering someone's home and fixing a problem for those people in exchange for money. It's a science that sounds so simple that is the furthest thing from that. So I hope that our audience as well, I definitely have, has gained some more perspective and some understanding about your industry and what it looks like to kind of take advantage of the heat. So unless you guys have anything else you want to say to anyone that might be listening, or your people or anyone that's going to hear this, feel free. Like I said, take advantage of the platform. We're happy that you guys came out. I appreciate you guys for being here, but that's all I got. I think we're pretty good.
No, I don't have anything extra to add.
No.
Appreciate you having us on.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Definitely different than the normal marketing avenues that we go down. So
Right.
sure.
we were
right,
very interested when we saw the email.
Right.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.